Hi, welcome to Audiobook Academy. This is a self-paced audiobook. There's no need to keep an eye on things. Just pay attention. Thank you for taking the time to listen. This is a book summary of The Infinite Game: How Great Businesses Achieve Long-Lasting Success by Simon Sinek. Are you comfortable with the idea of playing the long game? Simon Sinek, the best-selling author of numerous business and leadership books, says we should all be looking much further ahead. The Infinite Game examines leadership options and provides guidelines for implementing an infinite game plan. In contrast to the finite mindset, the infinite mindset develops a greater cause than our own or our company's own interests. The world is a better place when people work together toward a common goal. It was for his own infinite game that Sinek penned The Infinite Game, which was published in 2019. Finite and infinite games provided him with the inspiration to build on the foundation he laid with previous works like Start With Why and Leaders Eat Last. Author James Carse of Finite and Infinite Games explains how finite-minded leaders play to win, whereas infinite-minded leaders play to keep playing, ultimately for the good of their games. As a result, Sinek examines the differences between leaders with a focus on finite versus infinite resources in various organizations. An overview like this one helps us decide whether to think in terms of the finite or infinite possibilities that exist in the universe. This is an important decision that we all have to make as players in the game of life. If you're in business, politics, academia, or as a parent, you need to understand that your thoughts will have an impact on others long after you've passed away. You should read The Infinite Game if you want to gain a better understanding of what makes a good leader. Finite games are well known to us. Open any board game and you'll likely find a rule booklet. We're familiar with the lingo used in these types of contests. If you're playing chess, Monopoly, or Settlers of Catan, for example, the goal is to win. Athletics is a competitive arena where the goal is to outperform and outdo your opponents. These are finite games, and they're all about us, about winning, and about our innate desire to be the best. A finite game dictated by short-term market gains and shareholder demands is prevalent in many businesses today. They want to build a successful business that can be measured. However, in reality, the game continues even if the time allotted to each leader has expired. There's no such thing as an ultimate winner in business, careers, politics, or parenting. As a kid, did you play with Legos? No matter our age, we've all heard of Lego. A long-term use of an infinite mentality is the reason why. For the most part, it focuses on its mission, which is to create innovative play experiences, and reach more children every year. To be a truly successful business, it must be run by a succession of leaders who play the infinite game of building something sustainable, which will benefit the company's employees and customers today and in the future. Many businesses begin with an infinite game, but a new leadership can change this mindset. However, some organizations decide to shift from a previous finite mindset to see what's possible with an infinite mindset. Leaders of the finite and the infinite mindset. Open any board game and you'll likely find a rule booklet. We're familiar with the lingo used in these types of contests. If you're playing chess, Monopoly, or Settlers of Catan, for example, the goal is to win. Athletics is a competitive arena where the goal is to outperform and outdo your opponents. These are finite games, and they're all about us, about winning, and about our innate desire to be the best. A finite game dictated by short-term market gains and shareholder demands is prevalent in many businesses today. They want to build a successful business that can be measured. However, in reality, the game continues even if the time allotted to each leader has expired. There's no such thing as an ultimate winner in business, careers, politics, or parenting. As a kid, did you play with Legos? No matter our age, we've all heard of Lego. A long-term use of an infinite mentality is the reason why. For the most part, it focuses on its mission, which is to create innovative play experiences, and reach more children every year. To be a truly successful business, it must be run by a succession of leaders who play the infinite game of building something sustainable, which will benefit the company's employees and customers today and in the future. Many businesses begin with an infinite game, but a new leadership can change this mindset. However, some organizations decide to shift from a previous finite mindset to see what's possible with an infinite mindset. Leaders of the finite and the infinite mindset. Businesses, like people, need a sense of purpose or meaning in order to be happy. Sweetgreen is a good illustration of this point. Fast casual salad chain Sweetgreen has a devoted following of customers who know that the company does more than just serve salads. Sweetgreen's mission is to inspire healthier communities, by connecting people to real food, which allows customers to live out their own values. The way they do this is by buying their food from local farmers, who they support and from whom they adapt their menus based on the available ingredients at any given time. Clearly, they have a good reason to do so. Because they know what Sweetgreen stands for, their customers are eager to get involved. The American Declaration of Independence, on a much larger scale, was very clear about its justification. As stated in the American Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal. Emphasis and original, just cause, a 5-word phrase that lays out complex ideals of equality and independence, has become a cornerstone of Western thought. There are a few things we need to keep in mind when developing a justification for action. First and foremost, we must advocate for something that is open to all and exists primarily for the benefit of those less fortunate than ourselves. For the cause to last, it must be long-lasting and enduring. In addition, the cause should be idealistic and, by definition, unachievable. We could also say that a company's just cause is greater than the products and services it provides, to put it another way. This vision needs to be documented so that it can be passed down to the next generation of leaders with clarity of purpose. So, to sum up, an inspiring future that inspires people to participate in the construction of it even if they will never see it come to fruition is what we mean by a just cause. However, sometimes what appears to be a true cause is actually an imposter cause. In other words, social responsibility programs and just causes are often misunderstood. As long as a company has the ability to adapt, it will be around for a long time. Garmin, which in 2007 had the best GPS, is now worth a third of what it was when it was new. Garmin missed opportunities to develop new technology in line with a clear just cause because it focused on a business model instead of pursuing new ideas. To be short-sighted, it is important to have a clear sense of what you are trying to accomplish. Short-termism can also be found in the current form of capitalism. When it comes to the past 40-plus years of building businesses with a definition of business that is actually bad for business, Sinek believes that we may have been undermining capitalism itself by building companies with such an anti-business definition. Milton Friedman, a Nobel Prize-winning economist, argued in 1970 that companies must generate positive returns for shareholders. This viewpoint is limited in scope. Instead of having a finite mindset, Adam Smith, known as the father of capitalism, believed that a company should always put the interests of its customers first. Due to its inherent focus on growth, capitalism itself is under attack. A broken capitalism serves those who exploit the system for personal gain. A CEO's salary in 1978 was 30 times greater than the average worker's salary, according to the Economic Policy Institute, EPI. At that point, it was worth 271 times as much as the average worker's annual salary. Short-term market performance also increases the likelihood of job cuts, reduced spending, and lower salaries for executives. Internal and external company personnel are safe in the infinite game, on the other hand. In addition, profit is important, but it is not the ultimate goal. Rather, profit serves as a safety net for all those involved in the business so that the endless game can continue. If a company's primary goal is to maximize profits at all costs, we can expect to see ethical standards deteriorate over time. When people resort to unethical methods to meet strict work deadlines, this is known as ethical fade. Management at Wells Fargo Bank, for example, appeared to turn a blind eye to evidence that the company culture encouraged unethical and even criminal behavior. Ethical deterioration isn't a one-time event, it's an ongoing process. Minor transgressions, little white lies, and self-deception are the norm in today's society. Poor leadership is to blame for ethical fading, which is fundamentally a people problem. When Mylan, the company that makes the life-saving allergy auto-injector EpiPen, was found guilty of unethical pricing, that was an example of unethical leadership. "I wasn't going to be apologetic for operating in the system that existed," the CEO said in response to the criticism. If we define capitalism incorrectly, it's easy for businesses to play by a skewed set of rules. When it comes to finite leaders, this isn't an issue as long as you're making money. Fixing it will be done by the next CEO or the following generation. Leaders who play the infinite game, on the other hand, can see beyond the bottom line and are held accountable to their mission and their workforce. Although Patagonia is an advocate for change, they operate within the framework of the existing system. Creating a superior product while also minimizing their impact on the environment is a top priority for them. "We plan to be here in the next 100 years, so we think about long-term results," their CEO said. As a result, business leaders must be stewards of the mission. Entrepreneurs like the founders of Walmart had a clear sense of what their company stood for. Following this, CEOs with a more narrow focus on results threw a spanner in the works, putting the company's long-term viability at risk. It was only a matter of time before a shift in perspective took hold. We must never lose sight of the power of words. CFOs and COOs, for example, are well known in the business world for the tasks they carry out. This is evident from the words financial and operating, which are used to describe this. Nevertheless, what does the term CEO, Chief Executive Officer, mean in this context? According to Sinek, the title of Chief Vision Officer, CVO, speaks volumes about a leader's primary responsibilities. As a result, we must keep in mind that when it comes to leading, we must keep our just cause in mind and have a clear sense of vision. Building trusted groups is the next most important thing. Teamwork is essential if you're going to achieve your goals. Leaders must prioritize the well-being of their workforce. A company's just cause should be at the center of everything it does, because employees who believe they are a part of the team are more likely to do the right thing. Who would expect a group of hardy workers on an oil rig to sit in a circle and talk about their feelings? What is the benefit, if any? Safety on the rigs was always a top priority for Shell Oil Company. As a result, they created a group process that encouraged staff to shift from transactional and superficial communication to interaction that led to deeper trust and more vulnerability. As a result of this, they were able to ask for assistance and admit their mistakes. By going through this process, Shell discovered that trusting teams are essential to an infinite game, and trust saves lives when it comes to an oil rig. After conducting workshops across the company, Shell Ursa had one of the best safety records in the industry, and after conducting workshops across the company, Shell reported an 84% decrease in accidents. When we consider the Navy SEALs, we can see how far this goes. Despite the importance of overall performance in life or death situations, they place trust above it. Study the deserving opponent, which brings us to number 3. In the words of Sun Tzu, know your enemy. According to his own words, he went on to say, if you know the enemy and yourself, there is no need to fear the outcome of 100 battles. You'll lose every victory you have if you don't know who your adversary is. If you don't know your enemy or yourself, you are doomed to fail in every fight. In the infinite game, you need to be very aware of who your opponents are. This does not mean that your opponents or competitors are necessarily enemies. All games have competitors, and the infinite game requires us to study a worthy adversary as well. Consideration of the concept of a worthy rival is critical in this case. Consider it this way: do you participate in any kind of competitive sports? We all have those times when we're challenged by an opponent who is better than us. That the opposition should be viewed as worthy rivals who can help us improve and up our game rather than competitors is the gist of this article. It's possible that our opponents can do some things better than us, some things better than us, and some things that aren't as good as us. Taking a look at a worthy rival gives us a better understanding of how to improve and strengthen our weaknesses. As a result, they teach us to be humble and flexible, because they demonstrate that everyone has a place in the game and that it's better for sports when more people participate. To compete with Apple, IBM entered the personal computer market. I'm curious as to what Apple has done. Welcome to the task, they concluded their ad, which appeared in the New York Times, welcoming IBM to the area. In this respect, this is the pinnacle of acknowledging a worthy opponent. Prepare for existential flexibility. And number 4. There is nothing wrong with having some time to yourself in a fantasy world, far from the harsh realities of daily life. It's exactly that if you go to Disney World or Disneyland. By leaving Walt Disney Productions, Walt Disney put everything on the line to find a new way to further his just cause. Defining existential flexibility as the ability to change course significantly in the pursuit of a just cause by an infinite player, as demonstrated by this example. Flexibility is a hallmark of infinite leaders, who use it to inspire others to join their trusted group. Due to its high level of uncertainty, as well as the potential for failure, this is an existential flex. The team, on the other hand, looks beyond the industry's boundaries and imagines what it could do for a broader community. The theme park will always be a work in progress, just as Walt Disney intended and as any true infinite leader would know if they saw it. Last but not least, we have courage to lead. Remaining committed to one's just cause requires a great deal of guts. When you hold on to idealistic and audacious ideas, you must be willing to take a leap of faith. In many cases, a leader's job is at stake, and taking risks for an unknown future and seeing a world beyond what is prescribed by societal or capitalist norms requires extraordinary vision. The company's stability was threatened in 1979 when Steve Jobs said, "Better we blow it up than someone else." So long as leaders aren't willing to break with tradition and face Wall Street's scorn in order to pursue an ideal, their just cause is nothing more than feel-good marketing. In closing, here we go. The infinite game relies on business and politics. When it comes to S&P 500 companies, McKinsey found that the average lifespan has decreased from 61 years in the 1950s to less than 18 years today. The lack of long-term company building may be a contributing factor. Just causes can be pursued by leaders and shared with their employees, and we can build long-term businesses that make a difference in the world. For the infinite game, there are three important aspects. This is for a specific goal, to protect people, and finally, to generate a monetary gain. He claims that businesses have a responsibility to use their will and resources, to advance a cause greater than themselves and protect the people and places in which they operate, as well as to generate more resources, so that they can continue to do so for as long as possible. This means that instead of following the established rules, you may want to focus on establishing a vision for the future and developing your just cause. For one thing, there is no end to the game, so a shift in focus will create a more lasting legacy. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Please don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. See you in next audiobook.